Welcome back.
Welcome back. There you go.
That's right, Robbie. Welcome back. It's a great time. So you got to be happy. So we both just said welcome back because it's Redskins talk on Victory Monday. Dallas Cowboys go down to the Redskins 20-17 on the clank heard round the world on a 52-yard attempted field goal to tie the game in the waning seconds of the game. I'll let Robbie give his 2 cents because he got to get out of here and tend to the family. And little Zach, probably causing some ruckus because, he makes the showtime, not us. So he probably a little rowdy right now. So, Robbie, go ahead and give your 2 cents before I bring in Dujunnea and we break this wonderful game down that we got to experience yesterday.
Yeah, so I appreciate getting a chance to break it down quickly and go and then have dinner with my wife and Zach, and it was an incredible victory. I was shocked in the result only because those games don't always go our way, and 2 weeks in a row we were able to salvage a victory out of what I thought might be a defeat. An incredible play by number 91. I am a huge Ryan Kerrigan fan. I know we've had to defend him all season long, and he's been doubled by a lot of people, and everyone says, oh, he's disappearing. I was like, they're game planning for him. And clearly they decided to do this delayed blitz thing, and it worked. It was the play of the game for me, and the fact that he was able to get a sack fumble, and it was able to be recovered, a 1-yard run in the for the touchdown, and even though we ended up winning by 3, I really think that touchdown is why we were able to win by 3. And it was just an incredible matchup. It's just like every other Dallas-Washington one, going down to the wire, always the close. No one ever thinks there's going to be a blowout in this matchup, and I'm just excited because we haven't beaten Dallas in a long time, and I was very excited to see how quiet Dallas fans got on social media afterwards, and I'm just really ecstatic about the victory. I thought the defense played lights out, and the offense did enough to win. And Adrian Peterson, 99 yards, and it was just there's so much great stuff to talk about. And I look forward to listening to you and Dujunnea break it down all hour long. And I hope that we're able to replicate it against the Giants. Sometimes if we have letdown games, the Giants will obviously be tired after this Monday Night Football game, but we bounce back after a tough Monday Night Football game, so you know that they're going to be ready, especially to play at home. We always play terrible in the Meadowlands, so I'm hoping that we're able to take this moment, this great moment of getting 2 wins that should have been defeats, and able to push forward and able to see a little bit more out of our offense. Hopefully some players get to be healthy on our offense, and we're able to put together a really dominated performance over the New York Giants and able to stretch this out. But I look forward to listening to you guys talk tonight, and I really had a lot of fun on this show, and I'll definitely be back in 2 weeks and giving my thoughts again.
All right, Robbie, appreciate it as always. Thanks for sharing the video. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. You have a good night. Tell Zach what's up. Hopefully he can stay up for the game. Well, he'll be keeping y'all up too, so I guess maybe he shouldn't watch the game tonight. But you have a good night, Robbie, and we definitely talk to you soon, man.
Sounds good. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Also like to appreciate folks tuning in on the Facebook feed. James, JD Klein, Lawrence, Mike, what's going on, Big Mike? Hey, Eric, how you doing? Johnny, what's going on? Dujunnea, we haven't spoken in a while. How's it going, my brother? Victory Monday, great game, defensive battle like I enjoyed. How are you doing tonight, good sir? I know you're busy writing up some articles this weekend. Did we lose Dujunnea? Let me check the board. Robbie departs, and Dujunnea should be on the line. Dujunnea, you got me, man? I got you on the board. Oh, there we go. There we go.
I got you.
How you doing tonight, sir?
Yeah, good time, man. Good game, good time, and busy as always, man. It's great to see them put together, another really solid performance where the team looked to be consistent, and they imposed their will on their opponent.
I must agree. Normally we start with the offense, but after that performance, I got to start with my defense. First of all, the Alabama boys, they were out there to prove a point yesterday, and the fact that they held Zeke to the second lowest career total that he's ever had at half and for a whole game. And the front seven played amazing. Secondary, besides one, blown coverage, blown play or whatever, played pretty well. Moreau, was out there doing his thing. He's still learning on the job, but they held this offense that, they've been good sometimes, they've been bad sometimes, but the fact that they held Zeke the way that they did, and as Robbie mentioned earlier, the play of Ryan Kerrigan on that sack fumble, Preston Smith recovery in the end zone, was a very crucial play. And a lot of fans and a lot of folks been questioning Ryan Kerrigan, where has he been? He hasn't been, yada, yada, yada. And we spoke extensively about why, he hasn't been on the score sheet. Well, you were looking for the showstopper. There he is. You're welcome. What grade did you give the defense as a total, Dujunnea? Because I had to give him an A- besides that blown coverage. That's just my grade.
Yeah, I still think it's an A+. You gotta give Strowman some credit, man. Being a rookie, and as much as they had to play and ball out, with the possessions, the way this thing, I figured would go. You got to give him credit. He had that one, and he'll learn from that for sure. He did bounce back after that as well, but he'll learn from that as a rookie. I couldn't give him an A- because of it, just because of the fact the guy redeemed himself later in that game, and with the rookie out there with the last minute thing, weren't really expecting to not go without Dunbar, and he steps up and outside of that plays a pretty solid game, keeping his guy out of the end zone and making nice crisp tackles as well. So definitely an A+ for me. When you look at they held the Dallas offense to only converting 5 of 14 third down. They were 1 of 2 on fourth down. And then you look at the rushing yards, 73. They're holding serve on that. One of the best in the league, along with the Cowboys defense out there as one of the best in the league in holding the rush. And you have the 3.3 yards per carry. I had an opportunity to really dive into what exactly these yards amounted to per carry, but I believe it is way under that 3.3 yards per carry. So how important that is. And again, they did what they need to do, put the ball in Dak's hands. It's not that great without Jason Witten out there, that safety valve. And he's still trying to learn some things as well. And they put the pressure on him, and they, again, like you said, that back fumble was huge. I wasn't sure whether it was a fumble, what it was, and everybody was kind of all over the place, especially even some of the media, just all over the place with where it was, and then you thought it was a fumble, it was this, and the next thing you know, it's a touchdown. So, yeah, when you look at the game, man, that was the deciding factor, and the defense did what they had to do. United deserves a lot of credit up front as well, with those Alabama boys. You look at Zach Brown, the way he played, Nathan Foster playing up the part. You saw even Brian Anderson getting involved in this. Redskins fans should be really excited. This front line is in their early 20s, very young football team up front, and as a young defense as a whole. So a lot of good things to come. It's a scary thought to think that as young as they are, and the way they're producing right now, you keep progressing in this manner. Boy, oh boy, you really could have consistent, top 10, even close to being a top 5 defense consistently, and that's what good teams have. In order to win football games, you got to be able to play defense. Sometimes you got to grind games out like this defensively, and they were able to do that on Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt. Don Juan said players of the game's the defensive line. He also mentioned Leonidas body slamming Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah, I did enjoy seeing that and rewinding it a few times. Let's see what else we got. Oh, my comments starting to freeze up on me. I'm gonna get to that later. But to just piggyback on what you were saying about the defense, we mentioned. I know I mentioned last week about the Carolina game with the zone read option with Cam, the way they had it diagnosed. This was also a mobile quarterback that, if you was following me during the game, Jerry Jones came out the day before Saturday saying that Dak is built to run. You know, there is no concern. Yada, 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 yada. Then you saw that hit that he took, concussion protocol, which folks are trying to get all up in arms about, saying because he was using the smelling salts after the fact. Come on, people. Relax. Calm down. And then I guess we got to mention with talking about the Redskins defense and the Cowboys offense, they made a bold move today by giving up a first-round pick for Amari Cooper from Oakland, which is, I guess, having a fire sale, getting rid of all their players, because that's just what they want to do. But they had 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years. So, and the draft out here in the draft class are very healthy the next 2 years. So I guess they're looking to rebuild through the draft, like we've seen the Redskins do and hopefully continue to do. But let's talk about just the whole chemistry of this team. And mentioned on that sack fumble by Ryan Kerrigan, I've been asking why they don't put Kerrigan in different positions. He was coming up the A-gap. The A-gap is between the guard and the center. Normally they have Kerrigan on the right tackle. It was a beautifully timed delayed blitz that was Greg Minuski timed it, called it perfectly, timed it perfectly, and it paid off. So do you see this team starting to allow him to move around and not be in that same spot, or do you think that that was just an anomaly for that situation in the game?
I think everything is situational when you talk about moving players around. It's all over the tape. And I had Dallas fans all because they won 40-7 against a team that has no offense. I made the comment that that was the exception, not the rule. And the reason why, you look at their previous games, whether they won or lost, offensively they struggled to protect Dak Prescott, and they mainly struggled to protect him right between that gap. The A gaps is where they struggled to protect. Ryan Kerrigan is very good at being aggressive and hitting those gaps and being able to aggressively attack the quarterback, but he's fundamentally sound in the fact that he's not one of those Bruce Smith type guys that are going to, come aggressively at the quarterback and, one little side step and there he goes, right by the quarterback. He's very sound and, stable in his ability to be able to change direction and be able to slow himself down, get low enough to make the play. And I think you'll see that, and I think it's situational, though. That's not something they're just going to throw out there because they want to bring pressure. It's something that's on tape. It's something that teams will have to now prepare for. And I'm sure it'll be seen in time. But that's not something they're going to do regular because it is. I say you said special. I guess you could go with that, but I think it'll be situational on whether they do that or not. But it is nice to see them move him around and make people account for him because when he's on the outside, he's getting pressure. He's getting fish hooked to death, but he's getting pressure. And now you're starting to see in that game, you saw Preston Smith getting out there. They're having the fish hook ionitis. There's a lot for these teams to have to deal with. So you start adding and mixing in and sprinkling a little bit of movement, moving Kerrigan around, and you start giving offensive coordinators and offensive line coaches headaches because it creates problems, especially when you have the defensive line that the Washington Redskins possess.
Exactly. Let me get to some of the comments on our Facebook live feed. I'm going to try to get to them now. I'm getting a little backed up. Computer acting a little crazy. Mark says he doesn't know how to I guess he's talking about Jay in the red zone and not calling plays from the 5-yard line in. Like I said yesterday on my post game, the plays were open. They just didn't execute. Normally I'd be upset with Jay and his play calls, but there were 2 plays that were open in the end zone that Alex just didn't, complete the pass. So you really can't argue too much about Jay's play calling. I mean, it's a division rival game. You know, third quarter, everybody talk about not putting up points, but they moved the ball. They didn't get points in the quarter, but they controlled the pace of the game in that quarter. So how are you really going to be upset at that? I mean, it is what it is. What is your thoughts on that, Dujunnea, with the third quarter, with everything that's going on?
You know, I'm getting frustrated with a lot of different things that I'm seeing from Redskins fans. You know, I understand you guys say, like, you know, the Redskins have been to the playoffs for the past couple of years. You know, we're going to complain it away because they're winning close games they couldn't win in years past. You know, I mean, it's absurd to continue to every play that he called in that game, with the exception of a few, but inside the red zone, those were quality plays called at the right time, and as you stated, execution. But let's not forget, you were going against the top 5 defense. I think they're right ahead of the Washington Redskins. And in a red zone, they're a 4th in the league. They don't allow but 1.2 touchdowns per game. Like, they ain't giving that away. So, I mean, it's not like you were going against, you know, Green Bay's defense or some Swiss, you know, Arizona Cardinals. I mean, we're talking about tops in the league. And in these types of games, sometimes you're going to end up settling. And you have to execute well, or you end up with the results they have. And unfortunately, the execution is down. But again, and I don't want to get too far ahead, you know, there's so many other factors that people are missing. You know, this talk with Alex Smith and all that stuff. It's like, you guys, you want that Cousins type stuff? Because what I saw yesterday would never happen with this guy, with the amount of people they were missing. And I know we'll get to that, but yeah, I said, it's just absurd. And it's starting to get a little bit much now. You acting like you've been, you know, won something over the past couple of years, and here you've got a team that actually grinds something out, and we're finding other ways, like piss it away, almost just as bad as the national media trying to blame a win on a bad call, which I don't think it is.
We definitely going to talk about that later on. Let me get to some more of the comments from Phil. Rafe, Dave said we got some things to work on doing covering the secondary. Yeah, there's always room for improvement. No secondary is going to not get burnt. So, you know, coverages, you know, get exposed. But at least it was only one, you know, a couple of weeks ago against New Orleans. It was like every other play. So, you know, didn't have all the starters. People stepped up, played well, gave up one bad play. Other than that, it's pretty good. Valerie says DJ was a beast this week. Yeah, he's always solid. Like I said, I was so boosted when they signed him as a free agent. I want us to draft him, but as I always said, Houston had the draft pick in front of the Redskins. They drafted him. We didn't. Got him 6 years later, and he's still doing the damn thing. So, hey, I ain't got no problem with him being on the squad. I hope they sign him to a long-term contract soon. Let's see. Defense won the game. Ray says, yeah, definitely. We agree on that. Defense is definitely key. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the offensive side of the ball. We mentioned, you alluded to some of the injuries with Chris Thompson being out, Jamison Crowder being out, Paul Richardson being out. But we did have a healthy Sean Laval, which previously I would have thought was a bad thing. But AP putting up almost 100 yards, keeping Alex Smith pretty clean for the day. Rollier was back at center. The offensive line looked like it was, you know, back in the form they were when they started the season, looking impressive as they did, putting up almost 300 yards first game of the year. But I pretty much knew this was going to be you know, not a wide receiver heavy game, but Dotson made a couple of good catches. We talked about Alex missing some open receivers, making some passes that normally he would hit that he didn't hit. But I was questioning why we didn't see more of the 3 tight end set, knowing that the wide receivers weren't going to be a big key with Mo Harris and Dotson out there as the 1 and 2, that there wasn't really a threat that the defense really had to so-called worry about. But I was still pleasantly surprised with Jay's game plan. He stuck with the run. He kept feeding AP. He actually had a time of possession mentality. They actually, I believe, had time 28 minutes. I believe they had time of the ball. They varied it up. The only complaint that I do have is last week we saw some of the formations, the pistol, and more of the motion, but they actually let the wide receiver get the ball to keep the defense honest. They kept on running the motion, but didn't ever give it to the wide receiver, so the defense was cheating to the running back big time. That's why the plays didn't work. But what was your overall assessment of the offense? We got into it a little bit with the limited parts that was in the skill position that this team had going into this huge division rival.
When you're dealing with a new quarterback who has built a rapport with a certain amount of guys over a certain amount of time, especially in training camp, and they're not out there, and they're still learning. We talked about it last week. We saw Paul Richardson work his way open for the quarterback when Smith breaks the pocket kind of like he used to for Russell Wilson. And guys are still learning that. He's learning them, and they're learning him. With that being said, it does look, and I'm not saying Alex Smith is playing great, because he's not. He missed throws, he missed a wide open sprinkle for a touchdown. But I also think that he is, I don't want to say pressing, but he's trying to correct it, and it's a focus. He knows that he's missed on those, and he's trying to make it right. But that trying to make it right is you're overcompensating. So you got to relax, got to do what you do best. But again, despite you have all those three weapons, and without those weapons, Thompson, Paul Richardson, Jameson Crowder, you're still able to win a ball game. They had some long drives, weren't able to get in the end zone, they had some long drives. They took a lot of time off the clock. They put a lot of pressure on the Cowboys having to score. I thought they played very well. Again, and just like everyone else stated, I 100% agree. There's plays that were missed. At least 10 points that were left on the field. But at the end of the day, they did what they had to do to win. And sometimes you're going to be in these games and get the top 5 defense not turning the ball over. Dallas turned the ball over twice. One resulting in a touchdown, and one not being able to be capitalized off of. I think that's one area that I think they have to get better at. As much of the opportunities that the Redskins offense is getting, especially with the short field, they have to take advantage of that. And to me, at this point, it doesn't have to be touchdowns. You got to get some points out of it, though. 3 or 7, you got to do something, because those are free. It's like free throws. I mean, that's free points that's being given to you when you get either a turnover, it's close to the red zone or close to scoring range, or you get great field position to have the ability to get into some type of scoring range, whether it be field goal or touchdown. You have to capitalize on those any opportunities as the defense is giving them. You talked about the 3 tight end set, and I thought that as well, but then I also look at the fact, which a lot of times, and it'll be spoken of this in another article that I'm presenting, but the wide receiver core deserves a lot of credit. Most people don't even think about the wide receivers blocking on the outside and how that affects the run game. Most people would just think, well, taking them in the passing game and maybe just a little bit of scrubbing as far as, running the ball when it comes to the outside, but nothing major. But Washington wide receiver core did an excellent job of blocking. I think Josh Stockton deserves a huge game ball for not just his contributions on the field, making some tough catches in traffic, something that he hasn't been very good at, and dropping the ball in tight coverages where he's going to receive immediate contact. He also blocked well. There was a couple of runs that AP had that were predicated on the fact that Josh Stockton threw a hell of a block, and some of the other wide receivers were able to throw a hell of a block. So those things are extremely important in running the football. Again, I'm not really a true predicator on having AP run to the outside like that. When you start running those little option plays, and I think you see Chris Thompson do more of that, but when he comes back. But when you have those types of option plays where he's not kind of having to come all the way around, you saw him have success. So, but that's kind of the AP mantra. You have big runs. Sometimes he's going to either get nothing. He might take a 1-yard career. So, you know, overall, against the top 10 defense, those two defenses are neck and neck in a big NFC East rivalry game. Really a must-have for them, and really a must-have for Dallas. And I felt like Washington had more to lose in this one. Various reasons for that. But they did the job. And the key is not turning the football over. And once again, Alex Smith shows that, he's very careful with the football and make sure that he's not putting his defense in more jeopardy by handing freebies to the opponent.
That's very key to the field position game and to momentum and to everything else. So definitely that's true. But the offense is it's a work in progress. Excuse me. I'd like to see Perrine in there. I wanted to see him get more touches, but AP was in the groove. Yeah, that pitch the first time wide. Yeah, you can't run on Dallas wide, linebackers wide. But when he cut it up into the the cutback lane, yeah, that's going to be there. He's I've watched AP throughout his career, but I've never really studied him. But watching him with the playing for the Redskins at 33, the things that he's doing, the aggressiveness and want that he plays with, that he fights for every yard that's out there. That's why he's going to be a Hall of Fame running back, probably first ballot when he retires. But it was good to see the team find a way. They had some adversity. They had a lead. Things didn't start going away. Some of the conservative play calls, kind of reared back up for Jay again, and it boggles my mind why he goes away from what works the previous week. I just don't get it. Like, some of those things he did the previous week could have been key. And with the end around, the fake end around with Mo Harris coming around, they did that like 4 or 5 times. But in that fourth quarter, with Dallas pressing, that was the perfect time to hand the ball off to him. And it's like he has the acumen for it, but he doesn't pull the trigger when it's time to. Like, his timing is off, or it's like he's always trying to outthink somebody instead of just, calling a simple play that, that'll work. He wants to be all fancy and intricate. But I think we spent enough time on the Dallas game. Let's go ahead and start previewing this upcoming battle versus the Giants, who are now playing the Atlanta Falcons on Monday Night Football. It's 0-0 with 4:37 left. Atlanta is driving down the field. They just got a first down on their 40. The Giants have looked pretty bad this season so far. They're 1-5. They've been in every game so far that they've had on their schedule. They just haven't been able to so-called get over that hump. But we know the history with the Giants and Redskins, especially up in New York, that the Giants play the Redskins very tough, and the Redskins sometimes can't get out of their own way when they play the Giants up in New York. What do you expect to see from this defense going against this limited offense, even though they have one of the most explosive wide receivers in this Saquon Barkley dude is one of the more impressive running backs I've ever seen. I think they said he has over 100 yards of scrimmage in 6 of the 7 games, the 6 games that they've played, and he's dynamic. But besides those two, you got Eli, who sometimes look like he wants to be retired, but not ready to stop getting up the checks. And their defense has talent, but they haven't been putting it together real good on a consistent basis. What do you expect to see from this defense, first of all, of the Redskins against this limited offense of the Giants?
I think they're going to do the exact same thing they've done the past 3 weeks. They know they have a dynamic right back. Again, I think it was very clear last week, this past Sunday, they were in the Dallas backfield and playing in their backfield all night long. When you got that going on, you're either going to run into a wall and you might get a yard or two, or you're going to get tackled for a loss. And most of the time, even though he was getting a yard or two, he was getting tackled immediately. He was basically running into a pile. I understand Saquon Barkley has the ability to bounce outside, and they, again, playing in their backfield and forcing that little stutter step, that little stutter step or that little jump hop to have to change direction with the speed of this defensive front, is going to play into their hand. they're not. They haven't been able to get the ball to Odell Beckham for whatever those reasons are. You know, they're 21st on third down conversion. You know, it's really a game that favors the Washington Redskins defense. You're basically facing another team like the Dallas Cowboys, and, you know, that collectively, if you let them beat you, you let them get their running game going, then other things can come into play, especially as far as the New York Giants, because you do have an Odell Beckham Jr. to worry about. But outside of that, they don't present much. You know, they don't present much outside of that. They have issues protecting, you know, even creating run lanes, to be honest with you. But they also have issues with protecting the passer, and that's going to be a problem for them. I mean, that's Eli's biggest problem right now. It has been. You know, everybody on the outside can see that, with the exception of their front office. But you know, that's a big reason why they're at the bottom of the league in sacks, giving up 323 per game. So, you know, it really plays into the Redskins' defensive, you know, schematics, if their talent. And I think the Redskins' defense is definitely the front runner. If you put those two together as far as offense and defense, the Redskins have the advantage there.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm looking at the upcoming schedule, and we spoke about the offense, you know, trying to get some consistency and getting on track. The next games, as mentioned, the Giants and the Falcons are playing tonight. Those, ironically, are the two next opponents for the Redskins. And then they have the Buccaneers, which defense, I was studying a little bit today. They give up the most yards to the slot receiver, most yards and most anything in the slot to anybody in the league right now. They're worse at covering the slot. So hopefully we'll get Crowder or Richardson back by then, and they can go off for you fantasy football guys that probably got some of the Redskins on your roster. Then you got the Texans, then you got the Cowboys again on Thanksgiving, I believe. So they definitely have 3 games against some defenses they should be able to get on track against, and 2 tough games against the Texans and the Cowboys defense that they just defeated. So I'm looking for Jay to hopefully open up the playbook a little bit more, get some more of that diversity that he had the previous week, and let Alex be Alex. Because I felt like this game he was more, you know, conservative and trying to just keep Alex, you know, from not making a mistake. As in the previous week, you saw him letting Alex, you know, get loose a little bit and trying to get some more control of the playbook. So I'm hoping he prescribes to that same recipe for this game coming up against the Giants, because for some reason the Redskins always have a tough time going against the Giants in New York. And their defense has been inconsistent, hit or miss. Sometimes they play well, sometimes they don't. But with this Redskins offense, I need to see Jordan Reed have a big game. We know the talent, we know the potential. You know, we talked about in the offseason how he's, you know, got himself in shape to stay healthy so he wouldn't miss games. But, okay, he's on the field, but I know the teams, I know yesterday they were doing a lot of double coverage, box coverage on him because they weren't really a threat at wide receiver. So I'm not really mad at about yesterday. He had 3 catches. He had a nice catch out of one of those 3. But there were games before we've seen Jordan Reed, even with double coverage, still be able to take over. I need to see that Jordan Reed again. Have you noticed anything with Jordan? You know, we talked about in the offseason, like I said, about him, you know, changing his training and making sure he was going to stay healthy. But what do you think is missing from him getting going besides teams, you know, double teaming him and making it harder for him to get open?
Nothing. I mean, they got to get him the football. And, you know, I know there's a lot of things that people wanted to see, but again, I think people just, you know, Dallas defense doesn't get a lot of credit. You know, and, you know, not just looking at them statistically, but they're schematically really well up front, and their front 7 really allows their back end to be, you know, to cover well, and that's what you saw in that game. You know, there were things that were out there where they wanted to try to get Jordan the ball or playmakers the ball. It just wasn't there. And in a tight game like that, it was very clear that Alex did not want to throw up something that's going to go off a guy's shoulder, get picked up in the air off of somebody's hand in a tight window, and get picked off for critical game-changing interception. So I really don't think it's a scheme at all. I felt it was definitely scheme in the New Orleans game, as far as not getting your playmakers the ball consistently, because that was definitely there. But I think the Dallas Cowboys did an excellent job, and again, for 2 weeks they faced really solid, defensive fronts, linebackers that can move quickly, linebackers that can drop back into coverage quickly, crash the line of scrimmage in the running game. So there's a lot of different factors in that, and I really don't think that the Dallas defense is getting enough credit. I don't think it had anything to do. Yes, we'd like to see more, because Vernon Davis got off regardless against the Carolina Panthers, and it would have been nice to see that a little more. But overall, they stuck with what was working. That's why they had 132 yards on the ground. They definitely tried, though. They definitely tried. I just felt Dallas and their linebackers, along with the help of their secondary, did an excellent job of taking Jordan away. And I think that's really what it is. The guy's healthy. He's balling. He's trying to make plays. But, again, they have to, if they're going to take away what they're doing with what they like to do with him, you have to start finding some other ways to get him to do that. And you saw that, that one play that he jumped off sides there. He was actually in the slot. They actually had, they had him, in the slot on the right-hand side. And I'm sure he would have gotten open on that, because the plays that they did go to him, they were nice up the middle seam route, to where he beat the linebacker and don't allow the corner to have time to come up and really press it and get his hands involved to knock the ball out. So, it's just a matter of work, and sometimes they work and sometimes things go your way and sometimes they don't. That's when you got to tip your hat to the defense. Honestly, the Dallas defense did an excellent job. And like you said, it was really fun to watch, really fun game to watch the defensive guy, because both defenses were doing all they could, especially Dallas, doing all they could to try to stop, what the Redskins like to do well, especially with their tight ends and their running back. So, really, really good game by both defensive coordinators.
Yeah, it was a classic game. Knew it was going to come down to the end. They both played. Both defenses played very well. Sack fumble was huge. The DJ Swearinger, the whole. I'm a defensive guy, so I'm loving life. You know how long I've been complaining about them not drafting the defense and not addressing the defense. So, I'm loving life right now with the way this defense is balling out. Because everybody over the years, I don't write as much as I used to, but I used to hear everybody complain, we need to go back to a 4-3 defense, and the 3-4 ain't working. And yeah, I'm like, they never drafted for the 3-4. They were still drafting the offense to build the offense up for Jay. Now they're drafting for the defense, and now you're seeing what a 3-4 hybrid, 4-3, whatever you want to call it, does when you have talent in there to call these plays, to execute and do what needs to be done. And the young guys are stepping up. You mentioned Strowman, Moreau, he played a decent game. Beasley only had 7 catches for 56 yards, 8 yards a catch. The week before he went for $120 and 2 touchdowns. So I mean, against the Jaguars defense was supposed to be the best in the league, and I don't even want to get on them and their debacle, but they did bench Blake for you, Dujunnea. You was mentioning it last week about why they suck, and they benched him, but then I was about to say that they came out and said they're going to start him next week. But I mean, you done invested the money. You got to ride it till the wheels fall off. If he has another performance or two like that, they're going to go to the other guy. They want to go to him because they at least got points on the board with the other guy. I forgot his name. That's how bad it is in Jacksonville. The backup quarterback's name. Yeah, that's what it was. But I'm not even going to miss his name because that's how bad their team is right now, quarterback. But it's all the process. It's all, week in, week out, not playing to your competition, but being consistent in what you do. And that's what we can definitely see on the defense, which has carried this team. All we need to do is now see that on the offensive end, and then this team will be complete. And before we get off the air, I know I mentioned yesterday on a post-game show, but Dujunnea, I want to get your input because normally we only talk about special teams when they make mistakes. But the special teams has been pretty solid all season. Yesterday they made some, plays. The coverage was solid. They didn't give up nothing. Last week they got a fumble recovery on a punt return when they got muffed on a fumble on a punt return. So last year we saw the special teams unit in all type of, debacles and all. They even cost this team some games. What have you seen from the special teams unit this year? I mean, they've been playing well. They haven't made any mistakes, and they've been playing pretty great football on their end, with coverage. Tressway been doing this thing. Hopkins been doing this thing. He only has, 1 or 2 misses, and they were long distance. What have you seen from the special teams? I know we have a lot of younger guys on there, coming out of college, undrafted free agents, but what have you seen to make this unit, step up the way they have in the transition from how, inconsistent and bad they looked last year to basically they've played a kind of a flawless season so far?
You got hungry guys that take pride in what they do. That starts with a mentality. You look at Sean Dion Hamilton, Alabama guy. They don't take plays off, and there's no room for it. Whatever you do it with conviction. That's what they're taught. You see that rubbing off on them. And you got young guys who are hungry that want to. You understand that if they want to get on the field and want to get recognition, they have to make plays. And whatever that they do, they have to be effective at it. You look at Strowman back there. He's a guy that, the only thing I didn't like in the post game, J.P. Finley had an opportunity to talk to him, and he was just concerned about catching the football, and that's his main concerns about securing it first, and that's very important for any type of kick or punt returner. He kind of took that field of that ball a little deep. He had a lot of room. He fair caught it. But the wind was a little funny in that stadium last night. It didn't show on those flags on the uprights, but down on the ground and on the field, it was definitely there. And I think he was concerned about that. But overall, you got guys that want to be there. You got guys that are hungry, willing to make plays. Guys like that, like our guy. Alexander, who was the leading guy on that, Lorenzo Alexander was the leading guy, and the guy who kind of led the charge on that with that type of attitude. You have several guys like that now, and that makes a heck of a lot of difference. Tressway had a good game, and he still was sick about the fact that last punt at the end of the game. He wanted to get it inside the 5. It didn't happen, and he was upset about that. So those types of things are good. Caring about your craft, no matter who you are and what you are on this football team. You see that across the board. No matter who you are, everybody's giving a valiant effort, and understanding that they don't want to be the reason or the cause for a misfortune or a loss. So, and this is something the Redskins haven't had in a long time, man. It's the special teams have been the Achilles heel, and it kind of flows through different units, but it's been consistent since they believe his name is Danny Smith, special teams coordinator left. It is kind of, you make the whole pucker up out there every time they had to go out there and do anything. So it's nice to see Washington sure that up, because that is they're unsung heroes. It's an important part of what a team does, and it can make or break a win are going to come to a factor at some point as the season wears on, as you face tougher teams, and especially when you make the playoffs.
Very true. I appreciate the insight. I got one more quick comment chiming on the Jordan Reed. Mark Stewart says that he disagrees that he says that they run the same patterns for Jordan Reed, so teams know what to key on with Jordan. No different formations to move him around the snap to confuse the defense. I mean, they line him up in a lot of different formations. They had a trip formations. Sometimes they have him, the trips at the bottom and him isolated on the top. Sometimes they have him in the trip formation. Sometimes they line him up in the backfield. Sometimes they line him up in the slot. So it's just like you said, it's the fact that teams are keying in on him that, is making it harder. With the wide receivers, nobody being a real threat like we had with Pierre or Deshaun, that teams are just going man up on our wide receivers and putting the box on Jordan and making sure they keep him, under wraps, because they know if he starts getting loose, then they got to double down on him, and that's when the play action comes over the top. If the running game is going, or just faking to him and doing something to get it to the wide receiver to make a play. So it's all intricate. Like I say, I'm not going to. Yeah, go ahead, Dujunnea, before you want to wrap this up.
You have a new quarterback. Like if he had been here a while, there's a rapport. These things would be a lot easier right now. But they don't really have a good rapport yet. It's early in the season. He is freshly here. That doesn't mean he doesn't understand the playbook. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he doesn't have that rapport that these other teams like Matt Ryan tonight, like Eli Manning tonight, who have had plenty a long time with these guys. Training camp and preseason isn't enough. And they're learning different things, what to do when a play breaks down, things like that. So yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, and Carroll's right too, but at the same token, you'll be able to beat those things once they get a better rapport with each other with this first year here. So things aren't going to be as sharp as they were when you had a guy in said player, $84 million man, who was here for the lot of time he was here for. He had a rapport with those guys. So that's the difference, and that will get better with time. That's what's so important about this defense playing as well as it has, because it's going to take a little bit for the offense to get rolling. And hopefully, once guys get healthy, once the other guys that are in there begin to get that rapport and step up, then this offense will start moving a little bit better in the passing game. But what's important, they're running the ball quite well. I think I had a stat. I think they're 4-0 now when they run the ball, and they rush for over 100 yards collectively. So that tells you how important this rushing game is, and that's what's going to carry this team until these guys can get a little bit more on the same page and understand when plays break down. And Alex has an idea, a good idea of what those guys like and those guys understand what he likes. So it'll get better, man. It will. I'm 100% a believer in that. It's early yet.
All right. I totally feel you on that one, but I'm gonna go ahead and end this Facebook Live feed. Before I do, let the folks know where they can find you, or we can wrap this show up and get out of here tonight.
You can find everything at SportsJourney.com. Lots of good information up there. We try to keep it with you, and everything is not Bland 21. Love chatting with you guys and talking shop.
All right, as always, appreciated. I'm about to end the Facebook Live feed now. Appreciate everybody tuning in, chiming in. As always, another great session. As always, make sure you follow us for all your DC sports, Redskins,